well, it was back in 2019 when I came across the Jeremy Griffith's work. It was the free book that I downloaded onto my phone, and it was a really tough read. So I put it to the side, and I didn't go back to it for about a year or two until maybe February of this year. I was going through some really dark times, and health issues within the family, and just, you know, the pandemic and everything. And it was a really tough time in February. That's when I went back into the materials. And even though I didn't finish the book, I signed up on the website. I engaged with all the essays, the emails and the essays and everything. And it just keeps you engaged. And it just, studying the materials and the works and then integrating it into my life has really changed me. It's been really life altering. And like you say, I got to have my Kleenex every time I talk about it, because it makes me just a more compassionate, peaceful person, you know? And I love it. And I just wish everybody could be the same way. And my daughters are, I think my daughters, they've always been great, but now I see them in this more loving light, and I don't have to worry so much about them anymore, you know? And my husband, he's getting better, and I can see our relationship is getting so much better, because I understand why we do the things we do, why we say the things we say to each other, you know? And it's just improved my relationships quite a bit.
And May, I was just curious, what was there a specific moment in the, you know, when you've been exploring Jeremy's work that stood out for you, you know, in terms of what hit you the most?
I think it was because during the start of the war, the Ukrainian war,
yep,
that's always been a struggle for me to understand why wars happen. I was a child during the Vietnam War, and so it affected me. I was pretty young, so it didn't affect me that much because I didn't understand what was going on. But, you know, I saw the devastation in people's lives that war caused, and but it brought me here to the US when I was about 4, and we had to struggle. You know, my parents didn't speak the language, and they had a hard time getting jobs, and you know, it was really rough. But my parents have since passed.
Sorry to hear that.
They did their best. Yes, thank you. They did their best to make sure we were taken care of. And, you know, I have 5 brothers.
Wow.
And yeah, they're all scattered across the US, and one of them went back to Vietnam.
Yep.
But they did their best, and their best is so good because we all turned out really well. You know, I'm married, happily married. I've got 2 beautiful girls, and, you know, life is just so good. And I don't know, had I stayed over there, I don't know how my life would have been, but my life is so good right now. And I was so mad and angry at my parents for the longest time because I thought that they weren't doing enough. Why were we so poor, and why were we having all these struggles, and why are people so mean? But it wasn't them, you know, they did the best they could. And I think it was during the war, you know, I was really struggling with why they had to do that. But now I understand, you know, that's how it has to be, and it's okay. You know, I forgive my parents. I forgive myself for being so mean to my parents because I lack the understanding. And you know, it's really something else, this understanding. Yeah. And that war, it just, when it happened, I remember sitting outside and crying to a friend of mine on the phone and thinking, and then I remembered freedom. And I thought, why am I even feeling this way? I should really look back into that information and see if I can help myself somehow to get out of these feelings and in this depression, and maybe shed some light. So I went back and I read some of the essays and what Jeremy Griffith and everybody else that understands this information has presented and are perpetuating. It's the truth. You know, when you come to understand all of this, you forgive. You're so easy to forgive because there's nothing to not forgive. And so I'm just really grateful and thankful. And it's really ignited a burning desire. I mean, you can't tell right now from my face, but there is a burning desire to get this information out to as many people as I can. It's a burning desire to help all our children and everyone in the world to find peace. And that's the thing with me, the thing that I love the most. It's brought a lot of peace into my life. A lot of peace.